I heard a rumour that Terry's back in town. Time to bring him back.
Daniel, did you have to bring me home already?
If I can be serious for a minute, Terry always said if he was away or if something happened to him, he just asked me to do one thing, and that's not get Rich on to host. Look, being his best friend, so of course I got Rich on to host. Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Rugby League Outlaws. I just want to thank the sponsors, of course, our good mates at Top Sport, onelittlefootyfan.com.au, and of course the Stubby Club. Make sure you check them out. Mate, welcome to the show. Let's get straight into it. It's all about rugby league. The big news today, Kieran Foran signs for the Titans.
Look, it's a lot of cash to be spending on a guy that old. I mean, he can get away with things at the moment. Look who he's playing with. DCE, Turbo, that forward pack. Just don't see it clicking for him.
Look, me neither, and I'm loath to be negative about other football teams, but look, spending the big money on a player, look, to be honest though, they do need a playmaker and they need a leader. They get that in Foran. But as you correctly said, the guy's 38 going on 45. A lot of risk there, mate.
That's true. Well, you get rid of a guy like Fogarty, he could have been their future. I think it's a lot of dosh.
Mate, look, I don't disagree with that at all. That's a very good... Terry, you're in trouble here, mate. You are in dead set trouble. Richie.
Talk to me, Dan.
The streak is over. Penrith have lost a football game at home.
Unreal. Look, albeit there were some very contentious calls. That Mahoney try, that's not a try.
Oh, you reckon? I thought it was a try.
I mean, there was daylight between him and the try line.
Yeah, true.
If he's not held, maybe he gets there, but you can't give that a penalty try in that game.
But for lols, it's a try.
It is. And on the flip side of that, Penrith didn't really deserve to win. That kick-out knock-on,
look,
that was
true.
horrendous.
Mate, that was I was going to say the gaff of all gaffs, but it probably wasn't even the worst decision in that game. But Penrith fans that are watching, we get thousands, Rich. We get thousands.
I bet.
You lost a football game. How does it feel?
Unlucky.
Parramatta, are they for real?
No.
Fair enough.
That's a hard no from me.
Hard no. Look, they were really, really good. They've been good for a couple of weeks, except obviously the Cowboys flogged them last week. I feel like they perhaps overlooked the Cowboys looking into this game.
100%. Look, to their credit, they can shape up against the big teams. We've seen that against Melbourne. They obviously did it the other night against Penrith. Come finals time, can they do that 3-4 weeks in a row? I just don't know.
Look, it's true. They did push us at home, and we're undefeated at home.
We are.
So they've probably taken the three big sides, but the Cowboys are above us, so technically four big sides.
And are they a big side?
Look, a lot of questions, mate, but I'm excited because, as we know, Magic Round, full preview coming up soon. Make sure you stay tuned. They're going to play the Storm. Now, minus Pappenhausen and minus Remus Smith, because Ron Pappenhausen, by all accounts, I still haven't seen the game yet, has done his hamstring, facing 4 to 6 weeks on the sideline. Can they still beat Penrith?
Well, you look back last year before, they lose Pap, they get Hines. He's obviously not there anymore. We're reaping the benefits of that decision. Who steps up and plays fullback for the Storm?
That's a good point. Probably Nick Meaney, I'd say, without too much thought.
Or a 12-year-old with a better mullet than Pap will probably come in. You know what Bellamy's like. He pulls people from everywhere, so...
That's a very good point. They will bring someone up. I hate you, Craig Bellamy. Look, you were saying off camera, Penrith don't lose 2 in a row. It's been literal years.
It has, but neither do Melbourne. So it's a cracker game. It's going to be a shame if the weather's supposed to be how it is or how they forecast. It could be flood. So who knows?
Could be water polo. How good are Melbourne at that?
That's it.
But look, some people are erroneously calling it the main event, as if like the Sharks and the Raiders isn't a thing.
Yeah, look, it probably should be the main event. I think the weather's going to put a dampener on that.
Ruin it. Good pun. Yeah. Good pun. The big question, mate. Now, I was going to bring this up last week, but it just hurts me too much in here. The North Queensland Cowboys. We keep saying it's upset after upset. Are they for real?
Look, you can't fault them. They're on fire. I mean, they started the season like a sandwich. And look, you honestly can't fault them the way they're playing the last 3-4 weeks. They're clicking. Their forwards are on fire. Tamalolo's on fire.
He is.
The halves can do their job off the back of that forward pack. The Nanai.
Scotty Drinkwater. There's a lot of good players here, mate.
Holmes is playing like he was in 2016.
Look, he was. This is a team that we confidently predicted to win the wooden spoon in the pre-season. It's not looking good.
No.
Not looking good. Time for the sack race update. Who's going to be the first coach sacked? It was going to be Madge Maguire. He's bought himself a reprieve with a couple of wins in a row. Rich, who's leading the sack race?
Adam O'Brien, surely, has to be him. I mean, look at last week. These teams been performing awfully. We've seen it. He sacks his halves, brings two other guys, I can't even name them, and they do an even worse job. So you got to think it's him.
Look, yeah, fair call. Look, they did win on the weekend, the Canberra Raiders, but for mine, Ricky Stewart is still leading the sack race because they play the mighty Cronulla Southern Sharks this weekend, and Cronulla will be out to end his tenure.
Dan,
Talk to me, Rich.
let's get into the highlights and lowlights of the week.
You know what? I'm going to take the highlight this week.
Okay.
Terry always takes the glory, always takes the fun stuff. I'm taking the highlight, and it's the Sharks. Of course it's the Sharks.
Has to be.
First team to win with 12 men and 11 for 14 years.
Incredible.
That says it all. Now, it was lucky we were playing the Warriors because with Sean Johnson, they also played with 12 men. But you lose a player in the opening 20 minutes, it's game over. The Sharks said no. They came out, they conceded 2 tries in the second half. Didn't look like conceding. Highlight for mine.
Absolutely. 1 error, 2 errors in the second half. That's incredible.
Just unshark-like, mate.
Unshark-like. Very 2016. Grit, determination. It was a proud effort.
It was proud effort. I like it. But with every good comes a bad. What's the highlight, mate?
It has to be the Raiders-Bulldogs game. If ever there's an advertisement of the game that you don't want non-rugby league fans to see, that was it.
Especially coming off that game on Friday night.
Unbelievable.
Oh, wow. My favourite time of the week, mate. Time to talk some black, white and blue. And what a weekend it was. Talk to me. What was the day? It was a great day.
Look, to be honest, it's a game that I was nervous to go to. Obviously, after what we dished out last week, hearing rumours, few of the guys had the flu, and then obviously hearing that in the pre-game that a lot of the squad had it. Obviously, Ronnie didn't play. The guys didn't train a hell of a lot this week, so the nerves were kicking in, especially Willie going off early. What do you make of that?
Look, it was a send-off, despite what Dutch says. I think they got it exactly right.
100%.
Look,
swinging arm to the face, you can't do it.
Look, it wasn't ideal.
You love to see it.
Look, in the end, it didn't matter because we were so good anyways.
Yeah.
Look, Todd Smith, we've been talking him up a lot on the show. So, of course, he came out and KO'd the Sharks from the start. But, I mean, Will Kennedy put himself in that position. Reece Walsh cut him in half. It was a great step.
Yeah.
Kennedy threw his arm out. No malice, but it doesn't matter.
Does he sit down for a few weeks?
Look, yes, a send-off has to lead to a suspension. There's not often you see a send-off unless it's a massive error on the referee's part. Look, I think we're playing magic around without him, whether we bring, Lockie Miller in or Nico played pretty well at fullback, mate.
He did.
So,
in addition, I'd ideally not like to move Nico back because that means the entrance of Braden Trindle, and we all know how he plays.
Look, that's true. Trying to keep it positive, but...
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. It's I don't disagree, for the record. Look, yeah, absolutely. Nico Hines has to stay at half. He attacked at halfback all night. He filled in at fullback, but Moylan played a bit of fullback too. They handled that very well. Look, who does come in? Let's have a chat. Who comes in?
I'd like to see some Lockie Miller magic.
Yeah, me
Being
too.
magic round, let's see what he can do.
Look, it's perfect. I'm getting shirts. Lockie Miller Magic Round.
I love it.
What an idea. Look, Sharks, mate, we play Canberra this week, moving forward. Without Jack Whiten, who only plays 2 good games a year, both against us.
Yeah. It could be a Metcalf return game.
That's a good point. He's been very, very good for Newtown, especially since his return.
Yeah.
We beat the Bears. The Jets beat the Bears.
By all reports, he played very well today, bagged a try. Could be his time.
That's not a bad shout. Does inject some speed we don't have. Does he play in the halves or does he play at fullback?
Oh, fullback or bench for mine.
I don't mind that, actually. Look, I am firmly on Lockie Miller bandwagon. If Kennedy is out, and it's a shame because he's been really good.
He has.
You bring Lockie in. But with Ronaldo coming back, Connor Tracy, you've got to find a spot for him.
Exactly right. And after today's performance, he's got to be in that squad.
Does he play the 14?
I'd much prefer him at 14 than your Braden Trindle. I think he offers a hell of a lot more in attack. He's solid running out of our defensive end. He's just a machine.
Hey, it's good to have options.
It is.
We there's been years gone past where we've gone, oh, how are we going to fill 17? Now it's how you're going to get them all into the 17.
It's a good situation to be in, that's for sure.
It really is. Britt Nakoro is real good again. He's off contract. He's asking for a little bit more money than we're reportedly willing to offer him. Do you top him up? Or knowing you got Talakai Teague sitting there and Wade Graham looked good over the weekend, do you say, au revoir, enjoy the wooden spoon?
Well, you've got to think as well who we've got next year. We've got Oregon Kafusi coming in. You know, he's younger, fresher. He could offer some spot. He's going to work his way into the squad.
Absolutely.
You know, is it a situation where you can afford for a Nakora to leave? I think maybe.
Look, I am flip-flopping. Every single week I'm like, I'll let him go to the Tigers. And then after a game like this past weekend, you're like, we've got to re-sign him. So for now, I want to re-sign him, but ask him again in a week.
Done.
Jess Ramian, having an up and down season, but mostly up.
What a game today.
What a game. He put in a centre of a year performance.
Absolutely.
Look, this guy is capable of tearing teams to shreds. Look, last week, as we said, all the boys were sick with the flu, so you don't really look too much into that. But, mate, they're talking Origin centres. I think Katoni Staggs has gone backwards ever since I said he's a front runner, as is tradition. But, Jesse, is he a smoky? Nah, probably not yet. All right, it's time for some top sport tips. Look, as you would have seen, being a huge fan of the show, #1 subscriber, we mug Top Sport off. It's become a tradition. We beat them every week. We're always perfect. We've never missed.
I bet.
Especially not this past weekend. But look, into the Magic Round. Take it away, Terry.
Hey guys, look, Magic Round is upon us now. It's the event that, you know, the NRL pumps so much money into during the season. It's the showcase of rugby league during the season now. Talks they want to bring it to New South Wales. Don't leave it in Brisbane. It's the stadium built for it. Everyone loves going there. There's so many pubs leading up to it that you can just have a great time. It's a festive place. Don't bring it to Sydney. Leave it up there. Some great games, some shocking games as well in there. But this game, the first game I want to talk about, is going to be a fun one. The Dogs versus the Knights. Two teams, you know, out of form, looking for those wins. The Dogs had a win recently, but just couldn't quite get over the top of the Raiders. Whereas the Knights, their season's just going from bad to worse. There were some signs there against the Cowboys that they may be able to turn it around. They led at halftime as well, but just didn't have the ticket to go in the second half. The Dogs don't have many points in them. Both these teams are terrible defensively, so it's going to be probably a fun game to watch. I hope it's not one of those absolute bludgers because this event doesn't deserve it. But I'm gonna pick the Knights here to break their losing streak and get off the bottom of the ladder. I think they're just going to have a bit too much firepower. Kalen Ponga showed that, you know, when he turns it on, he's one of the hardest players to stop. You know, I just don't think the Dogs are going to be able to handle him. The Knights can get a roll on very quickly with their forwards as well, but this is the chance now for the Knights to bounce back. If they don't beat the Bulldogs this week, I'm calling it season over for the Knights. They can keep themselves on life support with a win here, though. Close game. I'm going to pick Kalen Ponga for man of the match.
Main event Friday night, Manly versus Brisbane, the yearly traditional game that Manly take up to the Bronx. How do you see it going?
Look, this is going to be a very good game. The Broncos are in form. Turbo's back. Home crowd. This thing is going to be nuts. I feel Manly.
Phil Manly, look, they were really good over the weekend, and I hate saying that.
Yeah,
it hurts at the side of my mouth. You got quality halfbacks, Reynolds, DCE. You got DCE trying to hold on to his Origin spot. You know, Reynolds, you know, with clear rounds, not going to get back in, but he's got Origin credentials.
It's a huge battle.
Huge battle.
Battle of the halves, battle of the centres, battle of the fullbacks. Tomorrow, Martin with the Cinderella comeback and Turbo's fresh. This is going to be a great game.
This is going to be a great game. Turbo, not a bad fullback. You know, went okay on his comeback, but for me, it's DCE versus Reynolds, the winner of that. On the spot, Rich, who wins, by how many, and why?
Manly by 2, DCE field goal early in the first half, another one in the second.
Oh, I like it. I'll go Brisbane by 4.
Look, Warriors and Bunnies, two teams that were embarrassed last weekend. Obviously, the New Zealand Warriors, you know, couldn't get over the top of a 12-man Sharks for 65 minutes and a 10-minute period where they only had 11 players. Didn't look like they knew what they were doing, weren't organised. Terrible defensively, how they allowed Cronulla to make metres when they only had 11 men, and also, you know, create 2 overlaps for Connor Tracy to score both those tries and nearly a hat-trick as well. And then the Rabbitohs, fired up, ready to go against the Broncos, but just didn't show enough there. Look, it's going to be a game again. Both teams' seasons are stuttering, and I think the Warriors' season is going to continue to stutter here. I think the Rabbitohs are going to have a bit too much for them. They'll be able to match them in the forwards, and they're going to have too much in the backline flair there. But they need a big performance from Cody Walker. He floated in and out of the game against the Broncos. He can't do that. For the Rabbitohs to be successful this year, he needs to take all the pressure off Lachlan Ilias and run this team properly. Now they really are missing Latrell Mitchell. I pick the Rabbitohs in a close game here. It shouldn't be a close game, but it will be.
In the game before the main event, I'm struggling to care.
Oh, mate, I'm really struggling to get excited for this one.
The Titans and the Dragons.
Wow.
Why should I care?
I'm struggling for reasons.
The Titans don't care. They haven't turned up for 6 weeks.
I don't. And this could be anything. This could be magic, or it could be just horrendous.
Look, it could be. It's like, remember the old under-20 games that used to be like 60 to 56 because neither team could defend? Yeah. I'm hoping it's that game and not an 8-6 game where neither team can attack.
It could be a game where Aaron Wood scores a hat-trick.
Don't say silly things, Rich. Look, I don't care about who wins.
I don't even want to tip.
I'm going to tip the Dragons because I have to. I hate the Titans.
Hate them.
Storm and Panthers, man, this is an absolute beauty. Whoever scheduled this for Magic Round, thank you so much. Top of the table clash. Melbourne now on top with for and against after the Panthers' shock loss against the Parramatta Eels. Look, Ryan Pappenhausen being out for the Storm obviously doesn't help their cause. But Melbourne are just going to keep producing off that factory line. Tyron Wishart played centre, went to fullback, just showed that he can slot in everywhere. Melbourne just have players, they can just pick anyone and they'll do a job for you. Whereas Penrith going to be a little bit shell-shocked going up there to Brisbane to play against this Melbourne Storm team. This is going to be an absolute cracker of a match. Can Penrith bounce back? Can Melbourne continue their dominance that they're showing so far? This is going to be a bit of a grudge match as well because everyone thought Melbourne was going to win the comp last year in a canner and Penrith showed up in the semi-finals and beat them. No, Pappenhausen maybe swings the game to Penrith, and that's how I'm leaning so far. I'm going to tip the Panthers in this one in a very, very tight contest, mainly because of no Pap. That hamstring injury, if it keeps him out for 4 weeks, maybe it brings Melbourne back to the pack, maybe it doesn't. I'm going to tip Penrith to bounce back quite well. 1-12 in this game, but it's going to be up there with the game of the season.
Main event time. Don't give me that Saturday night rubbish. The Sharks and the Raiders.
Revenge game.
It is a revenge game. They beat us in round one, although we always lose round one.
No Jack. Huge. Ricky Stewart. Potentially first coach sacked. Could this be it? I think Cronulla will be fired up.
Look, I hope so. Cronulla are a good side, as we saw over the weekend. A win and a loss in the last 2 weeks, but we have had some really tough games. We come into a good stretch of games now. There's no point beating the Warriors unless you can back it up with a big win over Canberra. I'm expecting that to happen. Now, every week, one of us tips against Cronulla to jinx them, but it won't be me this week. I think we beat the Raiders, and I think we beat them handily.
I think we beat them 13+.
Ooh.
Yeah, Eels and Roosters is a game on paper should be quite the contest, but Parramatta have shown they're a level above the Roosters while the Roosters are still trying to find their combinations. Now, look, they found some form against the Gold Coast Titans, but this is a Gold Coast Titans team that has not hit the expectations that anyone was expecting them to this year. People were picking them to be in the top 8 and push for the top 6, but just have not got it right. The Roosters, look, they're in the hunt for the top 8. They'll be there at the end of the season. I had them in the top 4. I don't think they're quite going to be there. I think the Parramatta Eels will be, though. And they're going to prove in this game that they're just that level ahead of everyone. The top 4 or top 5 teams at the moment just seem to be that level above. They've adjusted to the new rules, and they're still playing with quite the speed and aggression that we saw teams play with last year. I'm going to pick the Eels to win this game, and I think they're going to win it quite comfortably as well. I don't know if it's quite going to get to the 13+ mark, but they will win the game, and if it's only 1-12, it might look a little bit closer on the scoreline than it should. But I don't think the Eels will ever be troubled in this game by the Roosters. Great to see Teddy bounce back to form as well. Have a nice hat-trick to score his 100th try in the NRL. It's going to take a big game from him if they're going to beat the Eels. I just think the Eels have got too much up front for them. And then, Mitch Moses and Dylan Brown with Clint Gutherson can take that game away, and Reid Mahoney's decision making at the moment is the best in the NRL. I'm going to pick the Eels in this game, but the Roosters won't be embarrassed by it, but the Eels are just a class above.
And perhaps the sleeper game of the round. Never thought I'd say this, but the Tigers and the mighty Cowboys.
If you'd have told me 12 months ago that this could be the game of Magic Round, I would have laughed at you.
I would have deserved it, mate, because both these teams are terrible with a asterisk. Cowboys are on fire. I think they walk through the Tigers.
Look, I agree. I have to agree. I think they do. They're clicking. Everything's clicking. Their backs, their forwards, their halves. They're on fire.
I can't believe we're talking positive about the Cowboys.
Unreal.
13 plus, easy game. Lock of the round.
Lock.
Look, thanks for tuning in to this week's edition of Rugby League Outlaws. Look, Terry will be back next week, but Rich, looking very comfortable there, mate.
It was a pleasure. Thanks for having me. It was nice to keep your seat warm, Tez.
Look, as always, thanks so much. We're here on Punctured Media, of course. Thanks again to Top Sport, onelittlefootyfan.com.au and our good friends at the Stubby Club. And always, Rugby League, baby!